I just spent $11.50 on this balloon, and we're here to find out whether that was a good investment or not. So essentially this is a disc golf experiment that I've wanted to do for quite a while, and what it involves is taking a balloon and a disc golf disc and stretching the balloon over the underside of the disc, sort of smoothing out the whole underside and eliminating the rim, but because of its flexibility, still allowing you to grip the disc in order to throw it, and as soon as you release it, it springs back flat again. In theory, making a more aerodynamic, super fast disc, but I'm assuming that in doing that, I'm going to really mess with how we normally expect a frisbee to fly and probably cause some problems. But I don't know, and I want to find out. So, because I don't know how it'll impact the flight of a frisbee, I've got a range of frisbees that I'm going to try it on, hopefully. Super understable, super overstable, fairly neutral discs. I'm going to try it on everything if I can. In general, I don't even really know how well stretching the balloon over the frisbee will work. It might not work at all. We'll find out. I've tried it with a regular balloon though, which is why I bought these expensive ones, and the regular balloon was too small and snapped. Couldn't stretch it over the disc. So the balloons I've got are this huge 90 centimeter balloon, and a slightly smaller but stiffer 60 centimeter balloon. $11.50, $5.50. So essentially, my idea here is to cut off the tail end and stretch that out, wrap it over the disc, and see if that works. I don't know how far I have to cut, so I'm going to try just cutting off the tail, and I might have to cut off a bit more. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to finish up on this side, if it will curl up or what, if I have to stick it down. Not too sure either. We'll see. I'll also try and weigh the balloon, see how much that weighs and how much weight we're adding to the frisbee. Let's see how we go. Doesn't look particularly great, but we'll see. So it kind of does allow you to grip it. It's just not very smooth, and it's funny, it's created this actual air pocket in there, kind of, which I've just deflated. That's actually looking pretty good now. The top side not looking so good, but the bottom side not bad. Whoa, it's like a drum. Can you grip it? Kind of. Yeah, it's grippable. Guess I have to try and keep cutting away this frilly stuff. Oh, so that was the risk there. May have cut off too much? Don't know. Wow, that didn't work. It doesn't help that it's really crinkled, this one. I'm gonna try the other one. It's a lot smoother. So of course I ran out of space on the memory card of the DSLR, but I was having some slight success with the smaller balloon. The white balloon just sucked. It didn't work. And I was thinking this might not work at all, but yeah, the smaller balloon, it's kind of cool. It's wrapped really well. And there's so much tension in it. It kind of plays like a drum, which, I mean, isn't that surprising. It's very similar to the skin of a drum, but cool. All right, well, it's also really hard to grip because it's got so much tension. It's hard to deform and it feels real strange. So we have our wrapped disc now, and it's weird. And I guess it's time to go give it a throw. But before we do, what are my predictions? Well, I think it's going to be pretty overstable and pretty, yeah, strange. Hard to throw, probably not great. I've asked a few friends and they basically said incredibly overstable, worse than a tilt, and no glide due to the fact that there's no rim to create the lift and the zhuzhing of the air, you know, all of that fancy stuff. So I probably just got an incredibly fast overstable disc that doesn't go very far. Yeah, that's the reason I've loaded it onto the most understable, crazy understable disc that I have. It's a Viking Bezerker. I never normally throw it because it's just stupid. It's like hyzer flip to roller angle kind of disc. But maybe it's the only disc that will work with this wrap, and I've got other discs to try if it doesn't work with this one. Let's see how it goes. Let's get to the park. Okay, before I throw the super experimental wrapped frisbee, I'm gonna throw a G-Star Mamba, which is pretty unstable, but not really nearly as unstable as the Berserker normally is. I'm gonna throw a Star Wraith, which is pretty neutral. I'm going to throw a Taipan, which is pretty overstable. We'll see how they fly, and then we'll throw this and compare. And I'll throw that into the ground, because that's really useful. And I'll throw that with so much hyzer, it's also really useful. So that's the overstable Taipan. Let's see how this guy goes. It might break when I throw it. It feels absolutely horrible gripping it. Really freaking weird. I don't know. It was pretty overstable, but it wasn't wildly overstable. It kind of tried to stay straight. It didn't do anything weird. That's kind of annoying. I'm gonna go get it, throw it again. Why did that fly somewhat not stupidly? Okay, so it did end up in almost the exact same location as the Taipan. It's pretty overstable, I suppose. And we got some pretty sweet scratchies on the disc. It did a really big flare skip. That was pretty cool, like very skippy. And it doesn't appear to have worn any holes in it. It's held up pretty well. It looks almost the same as before I threw it. Oh, it's got some, I don't know if you can see, that's gonna be really hard to see. It's got some marks from my nails from holding onto it just along here. That's not punctured, but there's like nail marks in the disc. I don't know, it's weird. I'm gonna throw it again. I'm gonna try and put some height and some Annie on it and see if that does anything good for it. Oh yes! Oh no! Hit the tree. Well, I guess we'll find out very quickly what happens when you hit a tree with this disc. But that was hooking in. That was ripped. Haha. It's definitely not as overstable as the Taipan. It's flying annoyingly similar to a regular disc still. Why does this keep happening? Okay, I'm back again. It did just full pelt spank a tree. Oh, how am I gonna? And it survived. No puncture at all. It's crazy though. It's like really deeply smashed into the tree pretty fast. It survived. It looks again very similar. Still plays like a drum, and yeah, just a few more fingernail marks in there. I have realized the funny thing about this disc though is I don't think you can forehand it. I don't want to even try and forehand it, but yeah, I didn't think about that. It's pretty much a backhand only disc. Let's give it another throw. Might trim my nails, give it another throw, and then hopefully not hit a tree this time. It's sick. I really like it. It's not doing any weird, crazy overstable finish. It's kind of flipping up straight and then finishing like, you know, like a race. It's blowing my mind. So that was pretty similar. It not flying further or anything. It's not doing anything particularly different to a regular disc, which is annoying because it's not close to a regular disc. It's not particularly pleasant to throw. Gripping it is very strange, but I guess at the same time it's still fairly easy to throw. I'm not really struggling with releasing it at the right time or anything. It's actually kind of normal. It just feels super strange and I don't like it. And I don't think you can throw it forehand. Maybe we should give that a go. So I really kind of just want to keep throwing it backhand, but I'm going to give forehand. Oh god. Well, it survives drops on concrete as well. I'm going to give forehand a go because it seems like a stupid idea. I'll throw my regular race forehand first, and then we'll compare. Oh, that's a lot of hyzer. Alright, I'll try and not do that. Oh yes! It's money! That was crushed! That went really far! I just put it on Annie too and it handled it and then it flexed out and it's gone really far. That's so dumb. Okay, so I just U-disced that forehand and it's saying 102 meters, which is not crazy far, but it's not insignificant. And I think it's pretty silly that this went that far and flew fairly normal. And I'm really weirded out by the whole thing. And it's exciting, but the fact that it doesn't seem, I don't know, doesn't seem to make much difference is why. I just want to keep throwing it though, and I'm glad that it's surviving. It's getting more nail marks in it, but it still looks so much like when it started. I don't know. Let's keep throwing it. Oh, that's going for the fence. Okay, we might see the end of this disc. That just hit the fence, side on, wooden fence. Is it cheese grated? Let's see. Okay, that was bad. It got cheese grated against the fence then. You might be able to see it there. Yeah, we got a heap of lacerations to the disc. This side seems to be fine, and for some reason the whole, like it's still overall relatively fine. But it does have these nice gashes here, which are pretty scary. That's what you get for throwing it into a fence. I expected it, if it started to get these gashes, it to kind of just explode and rip away from the disc. So it hasn't done that, which is cool. I get to keep throwing it. So maybe one more throw here today. I'm going to try and bring this to the Melbourne Disc Golf Club League Day tomorrow and get some other people to throw it there. So hopefully it survives until then, and some other people can test it and see what they think. It goes really far, which is cool. Or like, I guess as far as most other drivers, but I'm just surprised that that seems to keep going that far. Okay, it's starting to rain here now, and I'm starting to regret throwing it into the fence because the gashes in the disc are kind of opening up now, and yeah, that sucks. But we'll give it a few throws tomorrow, see if it lasts. That was really cool. I think this is totally a success. It works on the disc. I was able to make this flexible skin idea that I had and throw it, and it was kind of normal, and that's not what I expected, which is cool. Yeah, now it's raining, so I'm gonna go home and we'll see what happens next. I don't know. I have no plans for the rest of this video. Okay, just got back from the field after throwing this, and yeah, we definitely have some damage to the disc now due to the tree and mostly the fence hit. That kind of sucked, but yeah, I'm still just really surprised with how this thing flew and the fact that it flew so normal, considering it's not so normal. I don't know if you remember, I also did a disc golf experiment a little while back where I made a disc with a light center and a metal rim. That's also a pretty different disc to a standard disc, and I was frustrated in that experiment because the disc also flew really similar to a regular disc. And once again, that's a similar problem I have here. Now obviously I've taken a super understable disc and made it kind of regular, pretty nice and stable, good flyer. I don't know if it's better than a regular disc. I don't think it is, because after I threw this one on the last one, I threw a bunch of drives with other discs and they all flew about 10 to 15 meters further than this one. So this probably doesn't have a competitive advantage as it is right now. But the fact that it isn't a huge steaming dump of a disc is strange too. Oh, also I have to shout out that this video basically wouldn't be possible if echo balloons in Montmorency didn't exist. I just moved into the area and I've had this idea for ages, and I saw that there's a balloon store and I was like, if there's a place that can help me wrap a disc in a balloon, it's probably a balloon store. So they did help out. And I guess we can answer the question at the start of the video, was it a good investment for $11.50 in the balloon? No. But the $5.50 in the slightly smaller balloon, yeah, that's a happily invested $5.50 in my opinion. The disc, by the way, does weigh about 190 grams, so it's pretty heavy, which could explain a few things. Could explain it's slightly more overstable than what, I don't know, because what is this compared to? But it could also explain why it doesn't go as far. Heavier the disc is, the harder it is to throw far. 109 grams is pretty heavy compared to the other discs I was throwing that were all between 160 and 175 grams. And so it's actually been wrapped for a few hours now, and it's still holding tension. I'm kind of expecting after a while it will sort of relax, I guess, and stretch and become a bit loosey-goosey. And it probably already has a little bit, but not noticeably. Yeah, still got that drum sound, which is cool. I like that. And there was another cool thing that happened in the last throw of the video, is this huge amount of snap when I threw it, and I think that was just like the rubber catching on my fingers and it just snapping out as I threw it. It sounded cool. I don't know if it was a good thing for this disc, longevity wise, but it sounded cool. It didn't seem to affect the throw. Okay, some other things. I guess I am glad or happy with my choice of disc to wrap it. I haven't done any other discs wrapping yet because it's damaged now, and I feel like pulling it off and trying to put it on another disc will probably just break it. So I'm just going to keep it on this one until this completely breaks, and maybe I'll try it on a different disc at another point in time. But I'm happy with my choice of super understable disc because I think anything else and this would have just been a crazy overstable tank of a disc. So it was cool that I got the disc choice right, I think. I haven't tried other ones, so I don't know. Another thing is, in terms of talking about the lack of glide, or the fact that this disc doesn't have the cavity under it to create the air zhuzhing and the glide. The cool thing that I noticed immediately after wrapping this, and I don't know if you can see it, I'll try and show you some photos, is that it actually has a fair amount of concave between the edges of the rim. It really dips down and it almost touches the bottom of the flight plate. So it doesn't really lose that cavity, it's just a really smooth transition between rim to rim, and I would have to guess a lot more aerodynamic. I'm not an aero scientist, so I don't know. But yeah, I thought that was really cool that it doesn't seem to lose the dishness. So as a wing, it still has that classic profile of the convex top and the concave bottom. It's just way smoother now. There's no kind of business, you know? You know what I'm saying? That's what I think is kind of interesting with this experiment, is that if you could tune the profile of this and work out what shape does give you a regular amount of glide and a regular amount of stability that you expect, but it is a way faster, way more aerodynamic disc, does that give you a performance advantage? Does it make this technology better tech than the current discs? I'm not sure if it would be PDGA legal, but if you could potentially manufacture this as a molded plastic part, which sounds really hard because there's a cavity in the middle, I don't know, it could be possible. Maybe it has to be glued together. Yeah, it is interesting, isn't it? Okay, let's do some closing thoughts on this experiment for now, just to wrap up this video. The disc is now pretty destroyed. Yeah, it just slowly teared apart as a few people tried to throw it today at the league day. There were none of the big crusher boys there at the league day, so I just gave it to a few people that were around, and they had a throw, so you can have a look at those now. Most people found it flew incredibly overstable. One person said it flew a lot like their Rask, which kind of makes sense because that's a similar idea, creating a super fast disc. But yeah, it's obviously very overstable. This seemed, as it sort of broke, the more people threw it, the whole bottom got a lot flatter. And as it got flatter, it seemed to get more overstable, so people weren't having particularly good times throwing it. And now it's pretty useless that it's got this huge hole in the bottom. But I might buy some more balloons and try it again later. I don't know. Either way, I think this is really interesting, and I think whether or not this is ever going to be a thing, I don't really care. It was fun to try it, and it would be really cool to know if it could create some kind of disc that flies slightly further. Is really the only advantage I could see out of this. I don't see it making a disc that's easier to control. It's certainly not going to last longer at this stage. But maybe if it's more aerodynamic, it can be thrown further. That would be cool. But yeah, I don't see it being adopted anytime soon. Even though it's obviously not PDGA legal. It's just a cool experiment for now. And yeah, let me know what you think in the comments, and if you've tried something similar, or if you want to give it a go. I don't know. Cool.